Namaskar and a very good morning to everyone who have joined us today to be a part of this poster presentation competition. Respected Principal Sir Dr. Taposh Kumar Mondal, respected Dr. Devdas Datta Sir, senior faculty members of all the departments, and my fellow colleagues and my beloved students. I, Dr. Ruma De, welcome you all today on behalf of the Department of Kaya Chikitsa to this poster presentation competition. It is a matter of great honor, and we consider us fortunate that we have today Dr. Bonani Das, HOD, Rasa Shastra Department, and Dr. Sudipto Poddar Sir, HOD, Department of Komar Vitta, as judge today. And I'm sure with their sincere feedback and constructive criticism, our participant will get benefit out of it. Besides that, I also request our senior teachers and faculty members to share their valuable feedback to all the students who are participating today to that poster competition. And the list of the participants will be shared to their common WhatsApp group of teachers. And I'll request everyone to share their constructive criticism as well as their feedback so that we can get information as well as which will also help us in scoring the students. As we all know that the guideline of the scoring on judging has already been shared to our judges. Here is a gentle reminder. Students will get 4 plus 1 minute to complete their entire presentation. And it is also requested to all the students to keep their video on when they are participating. So without further ado, we'll request all our participants to buck up and present their poster presentation today. So good luck, students. And remember one thing, do your best. Don't try to win it. Strive for the excellence. That is what I request all my students. And I request all my teachers, faculties, and students to be patient and give them lots of love and blessings to all the participants. I'm sure you will be, you're gonna enjoy this entire poster presentation session. And with that, I conclude and I request our participant to start their presentation one by one. And there's one more announcement. After the present participation competition is over, there is a segment for feedback and discussion where I'll request all our respective judges to share their valuable feedback. And in case they have anything to add up in between the competition, they can also do that. And for that, we'll again give some additional time to that. So without further ado, we'll start our competition for poster presentation.
Good morning to all my respected teachers, seniors, and others, those are present in this beautiful poster competition. Today, myself Abhijit Pal, second prop BMS of Beli Shankarpur Rajiv Gandhi Memorial Ayurvedic College and Hospital, is going to deliver a short speech about Madhumeo, which is a silent killer disease in this world. According to WHO, India is being fastest growing population of Madhumeo. It is a variety of promeho in which our urine and whole body becomes sweet in taste. It is under Bataja promeho, but any kind of promeho, if not treated properly on time, it turns into Madhumeo. When we take Kapha Viddhikaro Nidano, ultimately it causes Ojakhayo and Bostimargo and produces symptoms of Madhumeo like Prabhuto, Abhilomutrata, Tanumudrota, Mutramudurata, Pipasa, etc. It is of two types, Sahojo and Apatha Nimittojo, like insulin dependent diabetes mellitus and non-insulin dependent diabetes mellitus. When our fasting and postprandial blood sugar, HbA1c, elevated than its normal level, Madhumeo occurs. For confirmation, we need to do glucose tolerance test. According to WHO, between 1995 to 2025, Madhumeo will increase about 195% in India. For Ayurvedic management, we can take single drug preparation like Amloki, Horidra, Jambu, Mesoshingi, Vijayashar, and also we can take compound formulation like Triphala Churno, Amloki, Sharaso, Chandraprabha Boti, etc. Various research work is going on herbs for their activity against Madhumeo like Guduchi, Nisha Amloki. If we take Guduchi in the form of Guduchi Ghanaboti, it can decrease all the symptoms of Madhumeo. Its effect will be better if it is used along with Shilajyoti. So, for better and healthy life, we have to control Madhumeo by Ayurvedic management and others possible measures. I take references from Ashtango Hriday Nidano, Sthano, Sushrush Nidano, and from an article on clinical evaluation of Guduchi Ghanaboti and Shalajotu in Madhumeo by our respected sir, Dr. Samsul Islam. I also received proper guidance from our beloved ma'am, Dr. Shagata Chakraborty. Thanks to all for listening my speech. Stay healthy. Have a nice day. Thank you.
Good morning, respected teachers and honorable judges present here. I am Anindita Nath and I am going to present my poster entitled as Prevalence of Pandu in Indian Health and its control through Ayurvedic management. It is for Pandu Rogan, as predominance of pallor all over the body due to Rasavaha Sroto Dusti. And it is very common disease in developing countries and mid to low socio-economic status. As Pandu can be correlated with iron deficiency anemia, so it is very much prevalent in India among the women community. As we know that iron deficiency anemia could be diagnosed by the investigations like low MCV value, low serum iron, low ferritin, and high TIBC. And in peripheral blood smear study, we can see microcytic hypochromic anemia for the diagnostic purpose. And as we know, the heme iron and non-heme iron both are available in our dietary habit. But the heme iron easily gets absorbed rather than the non-heme iron. And there are also some factors that prevent iron absorption like diseases such as malabsorption syndrome, milk and milk products, caffeine containing foods and drinks. And when we see the epidemiology on iron deficiency anemia, we can see that it is iron deficiency anemia as well as Pandu. It is very much common in children as well as in pregnant women as well as in non-pregnant women also, especially in reproductive age. We can classify Pandu in Ayurvedic texts. Acharya Charak and Acharya Madhava has classified Pandu into 5 types and Acharya Sushruta into 4 types. As the pallor is the main clinical features of Pandu, we can see pallor in lower palpebral conjunctiva, nail beds, leaves, dorsum of the tongue along with teeth, palm and sole, and generalized skin. There are also some other features that are clinically present in Pandu as well as in iron deficiency anemia, and there are very much similarities also. Now I am coming to Chikitsa of Pandu. When we see Shodan Chikitsa, Vaman and Virechan can be done according to the Ayurvedic text. Shodan Karman is also done. Madanapana is suitable in case of children, and proper care should be taken while Vaman. In Saman Chikitsa, we can use various single herbs like Shatavari, Amlaki, Sharakutha, Gurchi, etc. and some other formulations like Dhatri Loha, Navayas Loha, Punarnava Mandura, Yamlaki Rasayan, Vidanga Rasayan, and along with these medications, patients have to follow the Pathyas and Apathyas. And Pathyas are fish that are good for hair health. It will be Godham, Purana Sali, Jangal Mangsharas, and regular taking of dates and raisins and citrus containing fruits. And excessive exercise sleeping during daytime, Ati Ushna, Tikshna Dravyas will be harmful for hair health. Now I am going to mention the efficacy of Shatavari in Pandu. Shatavari contains iron along with the chemical compositions like vitamin A, vitamin B2, vitamin E, Shatavari 4, etc. components. And for that reason, it enhances the serum iron and iron level and cures iron deficiency anemia. And as we know, Shatavari is a golden drug, especially for female patients. And I have chosen Shatavari for that reason. And from its Ras Panchak, we come to know that Shatavari has Valya Rasayan, and Ridya properties. For that reason, it enhances strength by elevating the iron level. I have also mentioned the references below which were helpful in my study. Thank you and have a nice day.
Good morning, my respected judges, teachers, seniors, and my fellow classmates. I am Atoshi Sharkar, first prop of BMS of Bele Shankarpur Rajiv Gandhi Memorial Ayurvedic College and Hospital. Today, I am going to discuss about a pragmatic approach to insomnia from Ayurvedic perspective. We all know sleep is an integral part of our daily life. One individual person needs 7 to 8 hours sleep in a day, but due to some environmental issues or physical or mental abnormalities, it may be hampered and may cause some sleeping disorders. Insomnia is one of them. Insomnia is defined as difficulty in falling asleep or staying asleep. In Ayurveda, Ahar, Nidra, and Brahmacharya are triupastambha of life. So we can correlate the lack of Nidra with Nidra Nasha in Ayurvedic point of view. Charaka included Ashwagandha in 18 Anathmacha Vatavikara, and Madhavakara mentioned it as Lakshana in some diseases. There are three kinds of insomnia. First one is acute insomnia, which is lasts up to 1 month and it is due to acute stress like new jobs, exams, etc. Second one is transient insomnia, which is lasts for less than 1 week. And third one is chronic insomnia, which is lasts more than 1 month and it is severe. According to Sushruta, निद्रा नाश अनिलात पित्यान मनस्तापात छायादपि शंभवत्व विघातात प्रत्यनिके प्रशमति means nidra nasha caused due to aggravation of vata and pitta, exhaustion of mind and losses of tissues. According to Charaka, Shirovirechan, Chardi, Bhay, Krodh, Upabash, Ashok are the causes of insomnia. Excessive use of drugs, smoking, alcohol, and excessive use of TV, mobile phones, computers are causes insomnia. Insomnia may result some physical or mental abnormalities like irritability, fatigue, headache, some memory problems, poor concentration, etc. It is usually self-diagnosable, but we can diagnose it by physical exam, sleep study review, and sleep habits. Now we are going to discuss about its Ayurvedic management. We can use some pathya like Ashwagandha Churna, Brahmi Bati with milk, Yashtimadhu Churna, Saraswata Rishtha, Guruchi, Shankha Pushpi. We can apply some Panchakarma Vidhi like Avyanga, Shirodhara, Sarvanga Snehana with Tilataila, Sarvanga Svedana with Dashamula Kvat, Virechana with Eranda Taila. There are some asanas we can apply some on daily basis like Kapalbhati, Narishuddhi Pranayama and Bhramari Pranayama. Besides this, we can also maintain some guidelines like we should set our timetable and maintain it. We should be careful about our ahar and paniyo, avoid using TV, mobile phones, computers, and a consumption of excessive caffeine alcohol should be avoided. Nowadays, insomnia is usually slowly emerging as a global health challenge. Per year in India, more than 10 million cases are seen. But in this COVID-19 pandemic situation, this number increases up to 20% due to economical stress and fear of losing their lives or their loved ones. So, the purpose of my presentation is to make the people concerned about this mental disease and to teach them how we can fight back insomnia by following the Ayurvedic principles and management. Last of all, thanks to Dr. Ruma De ma'am and Dr. Srilagna Bose ma'am for their great guidance in my presentation. Thank you all.
Good morning, all my teachers and my dear fellow mates. I'm Irika Pal from Food Professional. Today, my topic is preventive and therapeutic approach to Rajakshma with special reference to COVID-19. Introduction: Rajakshma could be correlated well with tuberculosis and coronavirus. It is spread via droplet and touching the contaminated surface before touching the eyes, nose, and mouth. This is how the disease transmitted from one to another. Next, comparative symptom of Rajakshma and COVID-19. Shirashul present in Rajakshma, in headache present in 14% in COVID-19. Jor present in Rajakshma, and here fever present in 83.3% in COVID-19. Pratishay present in Rajakshma, cold rhinorrhea present in 3.5% in COVID-19. Kantha Udvansha present in Rajamsha, and short throat 12.3% present in COVID-19. Ka Shwarvid present in Rajakshma, cough, hoarseness of voice 63.5 present in COVID-19. Swas present in Rajakshma, shortness of breath 24.9% present in COVID-19. Parshashul, Urashul present in Rajakshma, pain in lateral and pain in chest present in 14.9% in COVID-19. Urakshata present in Rajakshma and damage of lung tissue and ground glass opacity is present in 80% in COVID-19. Raktavarman present in Rajakshma and hemoptysis 2.0% present in COVID-19. Trimva present in Rajakshma and here indicating of fatigue present in 38%. Anshavamardan, Angamardan, Angashanta present in Rajakshma. Malaise in scapular region, generalized malaise present in 28.5% in COVID-19. Aruchi present in Rajakshma, loss of appetite present in COVID-19. Prashek, Muhurmuhu Chaddi, Vaman present in Rajakshma, nausea, repetitive vomiting 3.6% present in COVID-19. 3 Lakshan, Varchaved present in Rajakshma, diarrhea, severe diarrhea present in 8.4% in COVID-19. Next, treatment approach. Ashwagandha and Chyawanprash is most beneficial in this condition. It is proven by pilot study. For dry cough, we can use Sitopaladi Churno and Kantikari Avaleha. Panchakarma and Russian therapy is also indicated here. Tulsi Patra Swaras and Guruji Ganapati also prescribed for immunomodulator. For body ache, we can use Swedan therapy and Tulsi Talishadi Churna we can use also. For COVID-19 symptoms drastically reduced by the use of steam therapy. For preventive purpose, the principle of daily regime, night regime and seasonal regime we can follow. And the Tulsi and Ayush Khat also immune formulation. The important aspect of wearing mask and Nidan Parivarjan also limiting the COVID-19 exposure. Patients should maintain the social distancing and Sharanga Paniya daily 2 liter. And we can follow yoga, mainly Shurya Namaskar and Vrikshasana and Pranam for the additional assist in the management of COVID-19. Here are the pictures of all. Then discuss COVID-19 is a very new disease and daily new symptom added with it. I have to interpret Ekadash Rupa of Rajakshma with COVID-19 and how this can be managed by the light of Ayurveda. That is my point of view. And what are the studies have been done with also been highlighted. As it is the contagious disease, transmission of virus from one person to another can be prevented by following this regimen. In conclusion, many research scholars have tried to compare COVID-19 with Rajakshma. In the present state, Ayurveda may come to rescue both preventive and managing the cases of COVID-19. The managing strategy of Rajakshma will follow the managing strategy of Janapad Dhansha useful in COVID-19. The management strategy might be helpful the managing the pandemic with the least resources and most economical way in the large population. Thank you for the attention.
Good morning, my respected teachers and all of my fellow men. Myself, Biprita Pal from 4th Prof. BS RGMSCH. Today, my topic is Ayurvedic management of cash with special reference to COVID-19. Why I chose this topic? In COVID-19 pandemic situation, it is the most common problem in life. Symptoms of COVID-19 starts off mildly resembling that of a cold or the flu. However, one symptom which can actually help you differentiate whether it is just a cold or coronavirus is the presence of a dry cough. Almost 60% of the COVID-19 positive cases reported dry cough as a prominent symptoms. The kash word implies to move or to afflict. Since kash involved to movement of vayu is the upper part of body, and because it also afflicted chest etc., it is called kash rog. In Western literature, it is correlated with bronchitis. Some clinical examinations seen in COVID-19, they are raised body temperature, hoarseness of voice, anorexia, dyspnea, pain in throat, etc. Kash and COVID-19 differentiated with tomoxash, bronchitis, COPD, etc. Now come to Ayurvedic management. First, Shodhan चिकित्सा. Under Shodhan Chikitsa, Astapan Basti, Anuvasan Basti, Baman, Birechal, Snahidum, etc. In this pandemic situation, Shaman Chikitsa is better than Shodhan Chikitsa, as because it's better to stay home as much as possible. Shaman Chikitsa is done by depending on dosas. Some single drugs used in Kashru. They are Basha, Tulsi, Manushila, Ela, Yashtimodu, etc. In between, Basha is the most popular single herbs in Kashru because there are some research work is done in this drug. Moreover, we can use some classical medicine. They are Lavangadi Boti, Eladi Tika, Vasha Urishto, Tikari Grito, Pipaladi Leho Chabundash, Agastha Haritaki. Agastha Haritaki, it is also used for dry cough. And Lakshmi Vilas Rosh, it is used for reduce fever. Moreover, we must emphasize on home remedies treatment. We can take golden meal and take herbal tea. Herbal tea made by shunti, pipali, dalchini, tulsi, etc. It taken once or twice a day. And steam inhalation prepared by Pudina drugs. It taken once a day. And clove powder with honey taken once or twice a day. Here are some of pranayam and yoga we perform for cough and prevention of cough. They are Narishodhan Pranayam, Kapalbhati Pranayam, Bhrashtaki Pranayam, and Ujjaini Pranayam. And some yoga are Surya Namaskar, Bhujanga Asana, and Shetubandhana Asana. Now come to Potho. In our science, Potho is the half of treatment of disease. Potho are Ajakit, Yava, Draksha, Patola, etc. Now Apatho. Sexually contaminated cold and food, dust and smokes. Now come to conclusion. Some prevalence measures may be followed. Maintain proper diet regimen and use face mask. Avoid cold items and gathering. Due to COVID-19 pandemic situation, most of the Panchakarma centers are not functioning and essential medicine are not available in the market. So may be used herbal drug, home remedies treatment and must be follow Ayush guidelines. And last say, we also consulted a physician. Thank you.
Good morning, my respected teachers and all of you. I am Jayati Rai from final year student of BMS. Today, the topic of my presentation is Bisharpo, a clinical review and its management of Ayurveda. Now, I am going to talk about it. At first, I will introduce the role of the disease. Skin is the first and largest organ of the body, interacting with environmental agents like physical, chemical, and biological. Unhygienic condition is most causative factor of this disease. Physical appearance is related to psychological stress. According to the Acharya Charok, বিবিধাং সার্পতি ইয়াত বিসর্পস্তেন সস্মৃত পরিসর্প অথবা নামনা সর্বত পরিসর্পনাথ. It is called Bisharpo because it spread different direction and it is also called Porisharpo because it spread all over the body. Bisharpo is one of the major skin disease. It is caused due to excessive intake of Lobon, Ushna, Kotu, Amla substance. In modern science, sometimes it is correlated with erysipelas. The next topic is Samprapti, that means pathogenesis. Component of pathogenesis are Rokto, Loshika, Tok, and Mangsho. As substance of pathology as Trimol, that is Mutra Purished. Severe as pathological expression which are triggered by corresponding etiological factors. Thus, altogether of 7 components are responsible for production of Bisharpo. Since my topic is clinical review of Bisharpo, so I need to clarify the specific clinical features based on doshas. At first, Vatoja Bisharpo, it characterized by cramp, giddiness, feeling of darkness in front of eye. Pittaja Bisharpo, it appearance of deep red lesion, thirst, desire for cold wind and water. Kaphuja Bisharpo, feeling of cold, fever with chills. Agno Bisharpo, burning sensation all over the body, indigestion. Gronti Bisharpo, diarrhea, fever, macular reflex on front of the skin up to 5 cm. Cordon Bisharpo, dull pain, stretching of extremities, eruption of pimples with yellow, red, and black in color. Now I will tell the place of external Bisharpo is located in periphery, the internal Bisharpo located in interior part of the body, and Ubhastrita Bisharpo located in periphery and interior part of the body. Now I will focus on the main point, that is management of Bisharpo in Ayurvedic view. The disease can be cured into two ways. One is Shodhan Chikitsa and another one is Shaman Chikitsa. Shaman Chikitsa is more beneficial than Shodhan Chikitsa in this pandemic. In Shodhan Chikitsa, we can use Baladilep, Dashangolep, Mulakadilep. In Raktamakhan, Singadi for Batudushti, Jalakavacharan for Pittadushti, Olabutaran for Kapadushti. In Shaman Chikitsa, we can prescribe Mahatikta Grito Antola BD with cow milk, Amritadi Kat Portola with honey, Brihat Manjista Kat Portola BD, Kalangi Rudra Rosh on 25 mg along with honey. In Agna Bishop, especially we can use Shatadauto Grito 4 part and Panchabalka left for its gun and Ruksha gun. In Granthi Bishop, we can use Kadari pulp, Laja for its Modhu, Bipak and Shita Bijo. It acts as Pitta and Dr. Stambu. In Kordon Bishop, we can use Shatadauto Grito and Singashtu Churno. We can use some home remedies that is very helpful in this pandemic, that is turmeric. It acts as antiseptic, cucumber, papaya, aloe vera, etc. Some drugs are some selected for research work, that is Polchabolka left, Da Proshapan Koshai. Now I am tell the conclusion. Bisharpu is a fast spreading disease and extremely painful one. It manifests like Tod, Daho, Kondu, etc. Although Ekdosha Bisharpu is curable, but if left untreated, it may turn into Oshado. That is incurable one. So by using proper medication, purification along with diet and regimen, this can be cured if treated at a very early stage. That's end of my presentation. Thank you.
A very good afternoon to everyone present in this webinar of poster presentation. I am Jay Gautam Sarkar, a first professional, and my topic is management of Avabahuka with special reference to the shoulder joint by Agnikarma and Yoga Asanas. I will start with the part one, that is Avabahuka and its introduction. Avabahuka is the disease where the vata is located at the base of the shoulder, which constricts the siras and thereby losing the movement of the shoulder joint. The symptoms of Avabahuka can be correlated by the symptoms of adhesive capsulitis, or better known as frozen shoulder. The disease frozen shoulder, which limits the function of the glenohumeral joint, are of two types. First one is the primary or idiopathic, and second one is the secondary. Primary is generally caused by the abnormal response from the immune system, and secondary is caused due to shoulder injury, surgery, diabetes, rotator cuff injury, thyroid disease, etc. Now let's head to the part two, that is signs and symptoms. So here are some signs and symptoms of frozen shoulder, where pain and stiffness are the crux of this disease. The pain is progressive and initially felt mostly at night. Stiffness is due to contracture of shoulder ligament, which decreases the volume of the capsule, thus limits the range of motion. The risk of developing frozen shoulder increases in the individual if recovering from medical condition or procedure that prevents him or her from moving the arm, such as stroke or a mastectomy. These diseases are followed by three stages. Those are as follows. First one is freezing stage, second one is frozen, and the last one is thawing stage. Now we are at the last but not the least, part 3, management by Agnikarma and Yoga Asanas. In this fast lifestyle, people need immediate cure and actions, and Agnikarma is one of the fast procedure to reduce Vedna, that is pain. The cause of Avabahuka is mainly Vata Kapha doshas, and here Agnikarma helps in the elimination and pacification of Vata Kapha doshas due to its Ushna, Sukshma, and Ashukari gunas. This therapy decompresses the compressed nerves in the brachial plexus, which causes pain and stiffness. Here are some akritis used for therapeutic burns, followed by the tool Shalaka, which is used for the Agnikarma therapy. Those are as follows. The first one is Valai, Bindu, Rekha, Pratisaran, Ardhachandra, Swastika, and Ashtapada. I'm highlighting this therapy because Susruta, known as the father of surgery, described various surgical procedures along with the parasurgical measures, and Agnikarma is one amongst them procedures. As no promise is made by the modern medicines and surgeries for the complete cure and recovery of the frozen shoulder. But after Agnikarma therapy, there is no chance of reoccurring of this disease. Now, let's discuss about some yoga asanas. The art of practicing yoga helps in controlling an individual's body, mind, and soul. It brings together physical and mental disciplines to achieve a peaceful body and mind. It helps to manage stress, anxiety, and various activities in our body. Yoga asanas build strength, flexibility, and confidence. There are some asanas which can definitely help in the recovery of the Avabahuka. Those are as follows. First one is Garudasan, Paschim Namaskarasan, Ustarasan, Dhanurasan, and Purvottanasana. At the end and conclusion, I would like to say that the combination of hello, excuse me, ma'am, am I audible to you? At the conclusion, I would like to say that the combination of Agni Karma therapy and yoga asanas are best for the recovery of every osteoarthritis disease present in individual. Thank you so much.
Good morning, my respected teacher and classmate and senior junior. Today, my poster presentation is preventive approach to obesity through Ayurveda. At first, I want to say why I choose this topic. Obesity is a global problem, and COVID-19 pandemic has made the situation worse. Due to lockdown and work from home culture, people are born to sit back at home. So, in this poster presentation, I have highlighted three important aspects of Ayurveda which are beneficial in fighting the emerging global problem of obesity. What is obesity? It is a life-changing disease if contain huge percent of transient fat, sugar, medication, that means antidepressant drug, anti-inflammatory drug that have bad cholesterol that may cause various type of disease, that is ISD diabetes. If BMI above 30, considered as obesity. Obesity in Ayurveda has been described as stolo or Medorog due to Medodushti. It has also been mentioned in Charak Samhita as Ashtoninditiya Purush, which contains Jauna Chatushka chapter. It also under the caption of Santarpan Janna Bikar. Now I am focusing on three main aspects. That is Ahar, Bihar, Oshad. Every day we need 800 calorie to 1600 calorie food. Avoid excess salt. According to my thought, what I prescribe for obese patient and what not prescribe. Cereals, old sali rice, bajra, barley, java according to Charok. Avoid new harvested sali. Wheat can I use? We not use. Wheat not use because gluten present that convert glucose and lead to obesity. Pulse green gram kulotto. Avoid black gram. Fruits and vegetable use papaya. Increase digestion capacity. Brinjal. Sigoru.
Nazmin Khatun, your mic is off.
Please, someone unmute her.
Audible?
Yes, audible. You continue.
Fruits and vegetable papaya that increase digestion capacity, brinjal, sigoru. Avoid potato. Buttermilk instead of milk, lukewarm water. Intake water before meal. Food substance with pungent, bitter and astringent taste. Avoid curd, fish, jaggery and oily food substances. Bihar physical exercise. Awake Brahmamurto and walk. When walk, must wear shoes because of this COVID-19 situation. Bathing with lukewarm water. Avoid bathing cold water, day sleep, sedentary lifestyle. Oshud. Obesity may occur due to Ognidushti, so at first give Ognidipon drug, then anti-obesity drug Triphala Churno, Trikotu Churno 1 gram, Nabokukulu, Medohara Kukulu 500 mg BD. This drug prove in research mythology. Samshodhan treatment not done because of this pandemic situation, but used in Birechon drug TV Triphala. Conclusion. I have emphasis on three important aspects, that is Ahar, Bihar, Oshad, which are vital role in managing the Medorok, which turn to global problem. Mention Dinosarya, Ritusarya, Ratrisarya, standard diet, medicine, various type, asana, yoga, mention, Surya Namaskar, mention the Medorok. Thank you all to listen my presentation and have a good day.
নমস্কার, আমার নাম নির্মল চক্রবর্তী। আমি বেলেশঙ্করপুর রাজীব গান্ধী মেমোরিয়াল আয়ুর্বেদিক মেডিকেল কলেজ এন্ড হসপিটালের ফার্স্ট ইয়ারের স্টুডেন্ট। তো আজকে যে আমার টপিক ম্যাম হোস্ট ভিডিওটা অফ করে দিয়েছে লেখা আছে।
তুমি কন্টিনিউ করে যাও, আমি দেখছি। স্টপ,
Okay, ma'am.
ডোন্ট স্টপ।
ফার্স্ট ইয়ারের স্টুডেন্ট আমি। তো আজকে যে আমার টপিক সেটা হলো Janapat Dvans, a schematic understanding of Janapat Dvans with special reference to COVID-19. তো আজকে যে আমি বিষয়টি নিয়েছি এটা সবাই অবগত। আমরা সবাই এটি হাড়ে হাড়ে টের পাচ্ছি আমাদের এই COVID-19টা আমাদের সবার কাছে কিরকম একটি বিধ্বংসী সময় দিয়ে আমরা যাচ্ছি। আজকের এই সময়ে এই COVID-19 সময়ের যে ফলাফল সেটা সারা বিশ্বে আজ 10,73,776 জন আজ মৃত, এবং ভারতবর্ষে আজকে 1,07,450 জন মৃত। সারা বিশ্বে আজ 3 কোটির উপর আক্রান্ত এই কোভিড-19 এর কারণে। তো এইটাকে আমরা জনপদ ধ্বংস রূপে আমরা বর্ণনা করতে পারি। আজ থেকে প্রায় এই কোভিড-19 এর মৃত্যুর হার দেখে আমরা সেটা বুঝতে পারি, আজ থেকে 3000 বছর আগে আমাদের আ চরক সংহিতায় বিমান স্থান ৩য় চ্যাপ্টারে আমাদের চরক কি বলে গেছেন, সেটা থেকে এই জনপদ ধ্বংস থেকে আমরা পুরো বিষয়টা সম্পর্কে অবগত হতে পারি। এই জনপদ ধ্বংসটা ২ টো অক্ষর থেকে নেওয়া হয়েছে, জনপদ, উদ্ধ্বংস। জনপদ মানে কমিউনিটি, লার্জ পপুলেশন, এবং উদ্ধ্বংস মানে ডিস্ট্রাকশন। তো এক কথায় একটা নির্দিষ্ট অঞ্চলের একটি কমন কারণে, একটি নির্দিষ্ট কারণে যখন বিশাল পপুলেশনের ধ্বংস হয়ে যায়, তখন সেটাকেই আমরা জনপদ ধ্বংস রূপে বর্ণনা করতে পারি। এখানে পুনর্বসু আত্রেয় তার শিষ্য অগ্নিবেশকে যা বলছেন, সেখান থেকে আমরা জানতে পারি ভূতপ্রাণী অর্থাৎ ইনভিজিবল অর্গানিজম যেমন ব্যাকটেরিয়া, ভাইরাস যখন আমাদের প্রাণবহ শক্তিকে অ্যাটাক করে, তখন আমাদের এই জনপদ ধ্বংসের সূচনা হয়। যেমন আমাদের বায়ু, জল, দেশ এবং কাল, এখানের এই ৪টার যখন বিকৃত ভাব উৎপন্ন হয়, এই দেশ, কাল, জল এবং বায়ু, এই ৪টা যখন তার নরমাল পজিশনে না থাকে, তার থেকেই জনপদ ধ্বংসের সৃষ্টি। কোথা থেকে এই জনপদ ধ্বংসের সৃষ্টি? উনি বলছেন অধর্ম। মানে আমরা যখন আমাদের ডিউটি, এই পরিবেশের উপর আমাদের যেটা ডিউটি, যখন আমরা তা সঠিকভাবে পালন না করি, তখনই জনপদ ধ্বংসের উদ্ভব হয়। তো এই জনপদ ধ্বংসের সাথে আমরা কোভিড-19 এর একদম সুন্দরভাবে রিলেট করতে পারছি। তো এখানে যেহেতু তিনি এইসব বলেছেন, তো নিশ্চয়ই এটা ট্রিটমেন্ট সম্পর্কেও তিনি বলে গেছেন। তিনি ট্রিটমেন্ট সম্পর্কে বলেছেন যে আমাদের যে এগুলো মেডিসিন, এই জনপদ ধ্বংস স্টার্ট হওয়ার আগে আমাদের এই মেডিসিন গুলিকে কালেক্ট করতে হবে। সেখান থেকে সদ্বৃত্ত থেকে আমরা জানতে পারি, সদ্বৃত্ত মানে সোশ্যাল রুল, যেটা আমরা ওয়ার্ল্ড হেলথ অর্গানাইজেশন থেকেও আমরা জানতে পারি, এবং তখনও ৩০০০ বছর আগেও সেগুলো আমরা জানতে পারি যে স্টে হোম, তারপরে আমাদের হাত ২০ সেকেন্ড ধরে ধোয়া, তারপরে আমাদের সোশ্যাল ডিসট্যান্স মেইনটেইন করা, বারবার আমাদের চোখে মুখে হাত না দেওয়া, এই সকল সোশ্যাল রুল আমাদের পালন করতে হবে। ট্রিটমেন্টের কথা যদি আমরা চিন্তা করি, ২ রকমের ট্রিটমেন্ট হয়ে থাকে, যেমন প্রিভেন্টিভ অ্যাসপেক্ট এবং কিউরেটিভ অ্যাসপেক্ট। যেহেতু আমাদের সঠিক তাই আমরা প্রিভেন্টিভ অ্যাসপেক্টেই আমরা বেশি ফোকাস করব। যেমন আমরা চ্যবনপ্রাশ, অবলেহ ১০ থেকে ১২ গ্রাম আর ১ থেকে ২ চামচ খাবো। আমরা ডায়েট, তারপরে যোগা, প্রাণায়াম এগুলো করতে হবে। দিনচর্যা, আমাদের ঋতুচর্যা করতে হবে, এবং বেস্ট থিং ইজ রসায়ন। দ্য পিপলি রসায়ন ইজ বেস্ট। যেটা একসাথে আমাদের কাশহর, জ্বরহর এবং শ্বাসহর একসাথে কাজ করছে। আমাদের কি সিম্পটম, কাশি, তারপরে শ্বাসকষ্ট, জ্বর, সমস্তকে এখানে ম্যানেজ করছে। তো আমরা যেটা দেখি যে আমাদের প্রাণবহ স্রোতকে যেহেতু এফেক্ট করছে, তাহলে আমাদের অগ্নিকে, মানে এটা ডেস্ট্রয় অগ্নি, এটার জন্য ট্রিটমেন্ট আমরা শ্বাস চিকিৎসা, জরাগ্ন ভেষজ, তারপর কাশহর, শ্বাসহর ভেষজ ইউজ করতে পারি। তো শেষে আমরা যেটা বলবো, তেষামেব হে ভবানাম সম্পত সংজনতং জয়ত নরম তেষামেব বিপদ ব্যাধিনাম।
Good morning, respected principal sir, judges, teachers, seniors, and batchmates. Myself, Payal Sarkar, first year student of Belly Shankarpur Rajiv Gandhi Memorial Ayurvedic College and Hospital. Today, I am going to talk about critical evolution of depression and its management through Ayurveda. Today, before I start talk about this topic, let's understand why this unrated disease is such a big problem for the world. Depression is a real illness that causes mental and physical suffering. Depression is a common mental disorder characterized by sadness, loss of interest or pleasure, feeling of guilt or low self-worth, disturbed sleep or appetite, feeling of tiredness and poor concentration. It requires understanding, treatment, and an excellent recovery plan. According to Psychology Today, 20% of people suffering from depression eventually commit suicide, which makes it one of the deadliest diseases today. In Ayurveda, depression or manovasad as a state of mansik vyadhi and mansik bhava. Vitiation in either the vata or the kapha dosh leads to depression. Signs and symptoms of depression includes mental symptoms and physical symptoms. Mental symptoms include asiddhi bhaya, anxiety or fear of failure, avasada, hopelessness, dukhita, sad, vishana, sorrow. Physical symptom includes twak paridaha, burning sensation of the skin, roma harsha, goosebumps, vipathu, tremor, mukha shosha, dryness of the mouth. Apart from this, there are few additional symptoms which are included in the poster which may indicate one is going through depression. Since we are talking about depression, the current pandemic also plays a huge role, as you can see the graph, which is comparing data of 2019 and 20. Okay, we have talked enough about depression. Now, let's talk about treatment and lifestyle which we can adopt to avoid or cure this disorder. So, there are few dietary and lifestyle changes which we can adopt as a precautionary step to avoid depression or any depressive disorder as per Ayurveda. There are few do's and don'ts. Uh, Include pomegranate, amlaki, coconut, grapes, wheat, fresh vegetables, seasonal fruits in your diet. Have light meals, especially in dinner. Practice meditation and pranayam. Exclude non-vegetarian items from your diet. Have proper sleep, personal hygiene, and develop self-control. As per don'ts, we should not overthink. Do not awake at night. Do not be overstressed. Do not suppress the natural urges of urine and bowel, hunger, and emotion. We can adopt this to overcome depression. Along with this, we can go through a few Ayurvedic treatment as well, like Shirodhara. This process includes pouring medicated oil on the forehead. It provides relaxation. Sodhana therapies include Nasya, Vaman, Virechan, Basti, and Rasayana. We may include yoga like Padmasana, Savasana, Surya Namaskar, Bhujangasana, Sarvangasana. There are few Ayurvedic herbs which are available various parts of India proven to be effective with the cure of depression. Ashwagandha, known as brain tonic in Ayurveda, Brahmi, one of the best rejuvenative herb for brain cells, Yasti Madhu, Shatavari, Vacha, Chandan, and Pudina. There are few unknown facts which I have included in the poster since majority of the population is not aware of how serious this disease. As per studies conducted by Financial Times, there are around 200 million people in India suffer from depression. Women are 70% more likely than men to have depression. On average, in India, 21 people commit suicide per every 1 lakh people. 36% of Indians are likely to suffer from major depression at some point in their life. Despite the seriousness of mental illness, there is still a societal stigma associated with it. Many people don't truly understand mental illness, which can result in undervaluing those who are suffering from it. When people who can depressed and having suicidal thoughts feel misunderstood and discriminated against, it can have deadly consequences. This is why it's so crucial to spread awareness of depression and suicide. Lastly, I thank Ruma ma'am and Sri Lagna ma'am for all their support. So that's all about my topic. Thank you.
A very good morning to everyone. Myself Ritvik Sharma, first prof student of BSRG MSCH. My topic is splenomegaly. In Ayurveda, it is also known as Leodas. I have chosen this topic because with this splenomegaly, many critical diseases like malaria, Kala Azar, liver cirrhosis are related. So let's move to the main topic now. Spleen is an intraperitoneal organ situated in 9, 10, 11 ribs axis in the left hypochondrium. Enlargement of this organ is called splenomegaly. So, in some diseases like malaria, hemolytic anemia, the RBC destruction is increased. So, as their destruction is related to spleen, this causes the spleen to enlarge. According to Ayurveda, Giloy is beneficial in this condition. Now, diseases like liver cirrhosis, the liver is enlarged, and then the high pressure is in the portal vein backflows in the organ spleen, which cause enlargement of spleen. Sal Meg or Bhumi Amlaki are highly effective in this condition. Now,
According to Ayurveda, obstruction in bioenergy flow results in accumulation of biotoxins, which further leads to accumulation of water and sweat in the body. This is the first reason of developing splenomegaly according to Ayurveda. And another is that, as we all know, Rasa Dhatu leads to the formation of Rakta Dhatu. So, excessive Rakta Dhatu will lead to enlargement of spleen. Now, in patients suffering from splenomegaly, they feel pain in the left upper abdomen along with left shoulder. Clinical angle or anterobasal angle in these patients can be palpated under the left costal margin, and to confirm that this case is of splenomegaly, CT scan must be done. So now Ayurvedic treatments and medicines are Pipalyadi Churna shall be consumed with hot water. Apusadya Churna with juice of sour pomegranate should be consumed. Pipalyadi Lavana should be consumed with supernatant waters of curd. And lastly, Virechana. In this case, the regular use of mild purgation helps to keep the body purified. So now I want to conclude the topic by saying that splenomegaly is a critical health condition in a country like India, where diseases like malaria, dengue, and Kala Azar are prevalent. Though through this presentation, importance of early diagnosis and management of splenomegaly in Ayurveda has been highlighted, which might be helpful to stop further complication and emergency management regarding the condition. Lastly, the moral of the presentation is that avoid alcohol, live longer. So this was my presentation on the topic. Hope you all liked it. Thank you everyone. Have a nice day.
Good morning to all my respected teachers and also my fellow mates. Myself Shirsha Ghas from Fourth Professional. Entitle of my today's topic is Critical Evaluation of Amlopitta and its Management through Ayurveda. Today, more than 95% of all disease caused by food choice. Amlopitta is one type of disease where food habit is a crusader. It is a Annavahasratas disease. Amlang vidangdang tat pittam, amla pittam, which means pitta attains amla excessively and causes vidaho. The management should be work on pittu and vidagdha avastha pitta should be controlled. Clinical features, we can see some of the very common symptoms or clinical features in amlopitta or vipak, means the patient does not able to digest his food. Second, Hritkantha Daho, burning sensation in the chest and throat. Third, Tikta Amla Udgar, shower and bitter eructation, which is a very common and most of cases patients are suffering from Amla Pitta. Now, I has already highlighted the importance of Ahar in management of Amla Pitta. Throughout, talk about some Patha, which is a very good role in management of Amla Pitta. Patha Puranashali, Mudga, Gadugdha, Goghrita, Patala, Draksa, Amlaka, Jangal Mangsho, Laja, Shaktu, Dadima, Rai, Papaya, and we heard Shita Upachara, Bisrama, because patient need to take rest because harikari is orikari is the cause of amlopicta. Apatha, avoid junk, spicy, oily food which is increases the pitta. Means tila, guru bhajan, madda, etc. So to follow patha patta, we can bring the lifestyle in normalcy, and in work situation, the disease can be managed with this following medicine. Some of the medicine would be highlighted are Amla Pittanta Gloho, Shutoshikaras, Kamdudharas with Mutta, Mutta Pishti, etc. Here we have divided the management two ways. Important of food, second one medicine, which are also important if the condition works on. It's not that everyone need medicine, but if the condition gets worse, then we can give or advise the person this following medicine. Some of single herbs on management of amla pittas are Shatabari, Amlaki, Jashti Madhu, Bringaraj, etc. Some research work on Amlopicta, a clinical study on Amlopicta and its management has been with this Chinna Bhavadi Ghanabati. Trial drug on Amlopicta Madhujasti Churna are also shown very good result in managing of Amlopicta. Now come to conclusion. When diet is wrong, medicine is no use. When diet is correct, medicine is of no need. So maintain food and habits in proper dietary aspect. Thank you everyone. Have a good day.
Good afternoon to my respected teachers, judges, and fellow mates. I am Shreyashi Das, a student of first year in Bele Shankarpur Rajiv Gandhi Memorial Ayurvedic College and Hospital. Today, my topic is hypothyroidism and its management through Ayurveda. Hypothyroidism, also called underactive thyroid or low thyroid, produce enough hoarseness of voice, thinning hair, fertility difficulties, and menstrual changes. Hypothyroidism is very common in India. Almost 10 million people are affected per year by this disease. In the women, the disease is more common than male, and at least one people among 10 is a patient of hypothyroidism. Causes: hypothyroidism may develop due to number of factors, including autoimmune disease, intake of junk food, and irregular dietary habit, thyroid surgery, iodine deficiency, goiter, radiation therapy, pituitary disorder. In some women, hypothyroidism may develop during pregnancy or after pregnancy. Health problems. It leads, if hypothyroid is untreated, it leads to many health problems like goiter, heart problems, mental health issues, peripheral neuropathy, myxedema, infertility, etc. According to Ayurveda, the treatment principle. As in hypothyroidism, coating by kapha dosh and medodhatu prevents pitta dosh and cellular level functions. Treatment principle is aimed to remove the coating of kapha dosh and medodhatu and thus enabling the fire principle to perform in metabolism. Some herbs which are used in the treatment are gugul, kanchanara, and punarnabha. Some drugs which are prescribed by the doctors or physicians are Arogavardhini Bati, Kanchanara Gugul, Chandra Prabhavati, Gandharva Haritaki, Laghumalini, Vasantavati, etc. Pathya and Apathya. Pathya for the hypothyroidism. Add iodinized salt, garlic, onion, trikatu, moringa, etc. are helpful. Coconut oil offers much help in hypothyroidism, and old rice, barley, moong dal, etc. should be avoided. Apathya for hypothyroidism. Curd, heavy food, indulgence in abundance in non-veg, masha, day sleep, etc. to be avoided. Asanas. Some asanas which are helpful in treatment are Shetuvandasana, Halasana, Bhujangasana, Dhanurasana, Sarvangasana. Talurida mormo is used in the treatment of hypothyroidism. At last, hypothyroidism can be easily named as one of the major health issues in recent times. Indulgence in unhealthy diet and regimen has made the condition worse. Through this presentation, how causes of hypothyroidism and its manifestation has been highlighted, and how by following the Pathya, Yogasana, Ayurvedic management, hypothyroidism can be controlled has been brought into light. I have mentioned all the references to the below of the poster, and many thanks to Dr. Ruma De ma'am and Dr. Srilagna Bose ma'am for their great guidance, and thank you all.
Good afternoon all. Today my main presentation topic is management of Nedroga or obesity by proper yoga and dietetics. For better understanding of this poster, I have divided into 4 groups. Firstly, the introduction part. Secondly, the leading causes of obesity. Thirdly, the Ayurveda management of obesity through proper yoga and dietetics. And finally, the conclusion part. So let's get started. The introduction part. Here I've tried to mention what is Medoroga or obesity. It is the accumulation of fat in the breast, hips, and leg region. According to WHO, A person with a BMI of 30 or more is said to be obese. With increasing of lockdown across the world, WHO has said around 83% of the men and 73% of the female around the world are currently obese. Now let's look at the main and leading causes of obesity. Firstly, the consumption of artificially made health drinks and packed food. With growing of modernism, parents of today have preferred to give their children packed health drinks and food, which have caused obesity in the children. Secondly, the medications, anti-allergic drug, oral contraceptive pills have been the leading cause of obesity in the middle-aged people of today. Thirdly, unhealthy lifestyle. With growing of modernism again, the youths of today are morely attracted towards unhealthy foods like soft drinks, snacks, and the street foods, which have caused obesity in the youths of today. Coming to Ayurveda management of obesity. But before I start it, I would again remind Ayurveda is a way of living. Therefore, I focus mainly on preventive causes rather than medication. Firstly, the Vyam, which is a part of the Dinacharya and should be practiced daily for a healthy life. Dhanurasana, Nairasana, and Surya Namaskar are three major Vyama which are said to give relief from obesity. But according to the research by AIMS New Delhi, the Surya Namaskar has said to be giving a promising and lasting result to obesity and its management. Coming to the dietetics part, Ayurveda has always said proper dietetics give healthy and disease-free lifestyle. Therefore, few major things must be followed. That is intake of pathya, healthy food, and removal of apatya from the diets, that is unhealthy food, following Ashtobhita Ahar Paddhati. Thirdly, following the Charak rule of keeping one third of the stomach empty, one third with solid, and one third with liquid, so that the food gets properly digested and fat doesn't get accumulated in the skin. And finally, taking in a balanced diet which contains proper protein, carbohydrate, and fats, which doesn't allow fats to get accumulated. Coming to the conclusion part, here I've tried to figure out and give you an idea about my aim to make this poster, which is again to emphasize the fact that Ayurveda, if followed properly with Dinacharya, Ritucharya, and Ahar Vidhi, can give promising and efficient, cost-efficient relief to obesity. This concludes my presentation, but before I end, I would like to thank Dr. Shagata Chakravarti for her proper guidance to make this poster a success, and Dr. Ruma Das and Dr. Samsul Islam, the coordinators of this program, to make it a success. Finally, thanks to all my audience for listening to me with such a patience and bearing me for the last 3 minutes. Thank you all and hope you have a nice day.
Good afternoon, all my respected teachers and all of my friend and senior, junior. Now I'm Sweta Ghosh. Today's my presentation topic is dengue in Ayurvedic perspective and its management. First, I clarify why I choose these topics because at this COVID-19 times, we all are focusing only how to prevent the COVID-19. But if we saw our surrounding, then we saw that many other diseases also be manifested at this time. Dengue is one of them. So I chose these topics how to prevent the dengue in our Ayurvedic management. We all know that dengue is an acquired viral infection and with manifestations of the symptoms like the headache, myalgia, and rashes, and it's also caused by the flavivirus and transmitted by Aedes aegypti mosquito. Now, in Ayurveda, it's correlated with the Dandakojat. Its reference should be given in Madhav Nidan Parishishto chapter. Epidemiology at this time, dengue is the endemic disease and it's spread in our India and some part of Africa and East Asia. Then the manifestation, it manifested in two types, symptomatic and asymptomatic. Symptomatic here, the dengue fever present, and asymptomatic, the dengue fever is undifferable. And then the incubation period 2 to 7 days. Then the clinical features. If we saw in the modern view, there are the headache, rashes, and vomiting, and the joint pain and movement of the eye pin should be present. If we saw in our Ayurvedic, then we saw that the Siro Ruja, Pavarana, and Bamathu and Saskas also be present. Now the investigation. Dengue is it is a disease where the platelet count should be decreased. So at this time we
investigate the platelet count and the blood test and liver function test. Now the management in Ayurveda, but which food we should be prescribed for the taken. That is the ahatas light food should be given at this time. That's the mustadi kat and that the mashur mugdha and bilabi peya and Jibonti, etc. And Bihar dash types of the Langhan, Bamano, and the Bhango and Bosti. Then Apato Ahar, the which food we should be avoided at this time. That's the heavy food, that's spices like the burger, pizza, sweet, etc. And Bihar population, they sleep with should be avoided at this time. Now the Samshodhan Chikitsa. In COVID-19 time, we cannot prescribe the Samshodhan therapy, but if it's possible, then I will prescribe the Samshodhan therapy that's like the Langhan, Shedan and Bamano. Then the Shamshamano Chikitsa. Here many types of the yoga and cast should be prescribed. At the Guruchi Adikat, it is an anti-inflammatory drug, and the Mustadi cut, it is an antipyretic, and the Dasomuladi cut, it decreases our burning sensation, and all of drugs should be prescribed at the Chavanprash Rashan. It is the immunobooster drug. Now the diet plan, tea prepared with tulsi, ginger, and some the cardamom, and the spices food we should be avoided at this time. Prevention, bed rest should be given. Daily 2 to 3 liter water should be given for the dehydration, and papaya leaf extract also be given at this time. Research, many research should be done in dengue, and some single hearts research should be going on. That's the papaya and guruji. Papaya, its leaves, it increase our platelet count. Conclusion, when COVID-19 pandemic is still at rampant and rising of the dengue cases in India, especially in West Bengal, in emerging equally as a threat and major concern. So to curb such situation and to stop further increase of dengue cases, my presentation has highlighted importance of the Ayurvedic management through prevention and medication. Thank you.
So good afternoon everyone, good afternoon my mates, and good afternoon teachers. So my topic is for presentation is dietary approach to control hypertension. So I do not have to mention the fact that at least one person in our family is affected from hypertension, and that is the very reason of me choosing this topic. So what is hypertension? It is a condition in which the blood pressure is chronically elevated. It is considered to be present when a person's systolic blood pressure is consistently 140 mmHg or higher, and the diastolic blood pressure is consistently 90 mmHg or higher. There is no straight reference about essentials of hypertension, but the disease can be explained on the base of Ayurvedic principles. Hypertension is a result of Raktadushti with Tridosh involvement, in which Vata and Pitta dosh are predominant. P.V. Sharma mentioned Raktabat as a reference to hypertension. There are other references which I will discuss later. So the prevalence of hypertension in India, 29% of population is suffering from hypertension in India, and 1.5 million people die due to hypertension in Southeast Asia each year. Coming on to the objective, the Ayurvedic treatment for hypertension aims at balancing these doshas: proper dietary habits, regular exercise, yoga, meditation, along with Ayurvedic herb can prove beneficial to balance the mind and reduce stress and maintain the blood pressure. So there are 4 stages of hypertension. The normal one already I mentioned, and the last one is the hypertension emergency, which when the systolic blood pressure is above 180 mmHg and the diastolic is above 120 mmHg. So the main part is the pathya and apatya. So there are some pathyas like regular blood pressure checkup, lifestyle modification like timely intake of balanced diet, more use of fruits and green vegetables, regular physical exercise. It is said that adults who practice yoga are more likely to have not have hypertension than those who don't. It's a research study says. Regular intake of oily, salty, sour, and spicy food items. Weight reduction. More use of barley, green gram, horse gram, moringa, bitter gourd, etc. Amla, Indian gooseberry, etc. Timely sleeping, awakening. A regular practice of yoga and meditation. Already I mentioned that there are some yogas which we can practice, such as Gomukhasana, Sarvangasana, Shavasana, Sukhasana, etc. So, apatyas, excessive intake of salt. So this is a very important point where we should limit the salt intake. We should not take more than 223 milligram a day. Eating only 1500 milligram is even better. Reduce saturated fat to no more than 6% of daily calories, and total fat to 27% of daily calories. Now coming on to the conclusion part, we can better manage hypertension with wholesome diet mentioned in Ayurveda. By following Ayurvedic diet, we can minimize the occurrence of complication of hypertension. The concept of hypertension mentioned by various scholars in Ayurveda, Raktagata Vat, Rakta Vikshep, Shiragata Vat, Avrita Vat, Rakta Chap, Rakta Shampid, Pyanbal, Dhamani Paripurnata, Rashabhar, etc. So that's all for my poster presentation, and I would like to thank Dr. Rumade and Dr. Samsul sir for their guidance. Thank you all. Have a great day.
Good afternoon, all my respected teacher and my juniors. I am Vishal Malakar from 4th Prof. My topic is stomach shas and its management through Ayurveda. Swas Roga, breathing trouble, described in Pranava Shrota Roga in Ayurveda. It has classified in 5 types: Shudra Swas, Chinna Swas, Urdhva Swas, Mahaswas, Stomach Swas. Stomach Swas based on its severity and chronicity. Asthma and asthmatic bronchitis and bronchial asthma can be correlated with stomach shasa. Affected all age group, approximately 300 million people suffering worldwide, and factory area where air pollution hampers normalcy of respiration and pranava shrota to receive the oxygen. It's 2 types, Pratamak and Shantamak. Pratamak present with fever and fainting. Shantamak mainly cause dust and fume pathogenesis. Nidan Sevana, Pittastan Dosha Prakopa, कफेन अवरुद्ध वायु प्रतिलोमा प्राण व श्रोत प्राप्ति श्वास वेगा श्वास रोगा. Clinical features: hoarseness of voice, hardly can speak, in the lying posture, dysiphonia, exacerbate and cannot sleep. पथ्य पुराणशाली, रक्तशाली, गोधूम, कुलथ, अजदुग्ध, अजघृत, पुराणघृत, पटल, लहसुन, मधु, उष्णवरी, कुकुट, तितिर, मांस. अपथ्य: विष्टंबी, विगाही, गुरु आहार, निष्पाक, शीतल जल, तृष्णा, काश, श्रम, वेगावरोध, धूमपान, beans, fish, leaves of mustard. Management. According to Ayurveda Siddhanta, it is explained that Virachan, Kapha, Vatahara drugs and Vata Alunaman prime line treatment in Tamak Sasa. Some Samanoshadhi used in Tamak Sasa: Pushkaradi Kashayam, Vasa, Shunti, Haridra, Karkat Shringi, Bhangi, Shrisha. Several research studies has been done that stabilizes anti-asthmatic, anti-inflammatory, antihistaminic, etc. Activity of Shishira, and Shishira is used as single herb or in formulation for bronchial asthma. Some yogasanas are useful for Tamak Shasa: Jalaneti, Vamandoti, Bhujangasana, Paschimuktasana, Vajrasana, Surya Bhedan Pranayama. Then conclusion. According to Agnivala, take light diet. Workers should use face mask when working in factory or wear palace fume. The disease came up and he may not pain as Shula patient. He may not weak like patient of Pakshakat. He is silent and inactive till the breath his last. If treated properly, it is cured completely. Thank you all.
Thank you all to all the participants for presenting their poster beautifully. And I also appreciate their hard work, the kind of effort they put behind making this presentation a successful one. Now, the session is open for discussion and feedback. And for that, I would like to request our respected Dr. Poddar sir to share his valuable feedback and also give our students his constructive criticism as well as blessings. So, sir, over to you.
Welcome all, and I am very much thankful to the organizers for conducting such a session of poster presentation. It is beneficial for both the students and for the academic activity of the college, of the institution, and I am also thankful to the main coordinators, that is Rumade and Shamsul Islam and Professor Devdas Dottu, and all the teaching faculty and principals are always encouraging us for doing this type of sessions, and the students who are also involved in this organizing this academic session, and the students who have participated in this courses presentation, their hard work is appreciated, and though there are some criteria for the judgment, and we have to judge them according to their presented poster, how they have prepared it, and the knowledge they have presented, and they are presenting how they have presented their knowledge, and also what is the beneficial feedback of this poster to us, and many of you have done hard work, and so I appreciate all of you for doing this type of activity. And after some time, we may conclude that who will get that is what are the rank they are getting by their presentation, and I think if I will get some time, then I will give you the complete picture of the presentation, that is their complete that is how they are presented, or what is the main ranking of their presented posters. So by this talk, I want to hand over my mic to again Rumade to continue the session. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now I will request our respected Dr. Banani Das ma'am to give her valuable feedback and constructive criticism to our students. Ma'am, go ahead.
This is the good initiation, very good initiation, and students get good, very good, and it is the thankful to all of the organizer, especially Dr. Rumade and Dr. Shamsul Islam, and the faculty members. They help to and encourage to the student their presentation, especially Dr. Srilogna Bosch, Rumade, Shamsul Islam, all are giving to give my thanks, and students, that is the first year student, good, better than others, and third year no student participate in this session, and give the result with consult with the Dr. Poddar and later. Over to Dr. Rumade.
Thank you, ma'am, for your valuable feedback. As stated already, the result will be declared later. As of now, we'll move on to our final segment, that is vote of thanks. And for that, I'll request Dr. Samsul Islam to deliver his vote of thanks. Thank you so much. And Dr. Samsul, over to you.
Good afternoon to all. Really, it's a great honor and great privilege for the vote of thanks on this competition on the behalf of Department of Kaya Chikitsa, Baleshankarpur Rajiv Gandhi Memorial Ayurveda Medical College and Hospital. So first and foremost, I thank our principal sir, who despite his busy schedule has found time to grace this occasion, and also I express my heartfelt thanks to our judges also, guidance and encouragement in all our effort. My heartfelt thanks to the head of the various department, as well as of our senior faculties, as also other faculties who are actively present in this presentation time. So my heartfelt thanks to them and their valuable contribution, guidance, and encouragement in all our effort. I want special gratitude to the participant who have worked hard to ensure that this competition becomes a memorable success. So for that, and last but not least, I thank you my technical team for their cooperation, making the competition a resounding success. So once again, thank you for all of your attention. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. With that, we conclude our session.